Hey besties, welcome back to the Cozy Corner. It's your girl Jen, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Just a regular old college student at Cal State Dominguez, but if you're not new here, welcome back to the chaos. Oh my gosh, that intro is gonna get me one of these days. I swear I've probably said that said that intro a couple of times already. But listen, it's been a few minutes since I've done a video like this, and I'm really excited. Now, just to make things short, I'm going to be going over all of the books that I read in October. And I just want to mention again that September was such a crazy reading month. I only read 4 books because I was in a slump. I was really slumping out. But I made it back. I made a comeback. And I'm really excited to tell y'all I read 16 books this month. That's insane. Listen, I don't know what happened to me, what type of drinks I was drinking, what type of food I was eating, but I was reading every single day. And I'm honestly kind of proud of myself because I feel like I kind of made up for the books I did not read or did not enjoy last month. Again, we're going to be talking about this in a future video, but for now, let's go over all of the 16 books that I read in October. There are going to be 4 books that aren't mentioned, that aren't shown because I don't have the physical copy of them in this video because I read them on Kindle. So instead, I'm just going to pop them up probably right here. But these are all of the 16 books that I read and what I rated them, and I'm so excited to talk about it. So without further ado, let's get into it, right? So first things first, let's get into this series so we can forget about it afterwards. Not to say that it was like the worst series that I've ever read, because it definitely was not. We read the Red Queen series. Red Queen is basically like, I can't even call it like, okay, let's start over, right? So Jamie read this, I think last year, a couple years ago, and I think she rated the first one like 3.75 stars. She didn't mind it. I think she read the second book, and then she kind of DNF'd the series. I wanted to get through it because, you know me, if I'm going to read a series, if I'm going to read a book, I do not DNF. And honestly, because I had the books already, I just wanted to get through it already. I wanted to read all the books and, call it a day. Sorry for the door being slammed. We got some issues in the house, and that's okay. But regardless, the Red Queen, if you don't know, follows a girl named Mare. Mare is living in a place, I don't even know what it's called, to be honest. She's living in this world where people do have powers. They're called the elite, and people don't have powers. They're called no, I'm so sorry. They're not called the elite. That's something else. Sorry. I read like 2 separate books series this month that kind of followed like similar types, but the Red Queen follows Mare. Like I said, we're gonna just start that over, right? And she lives in a world where there's either silvers or there's red bloods. Silver-blooded people, obviously, as the name entails, they have silver blood, but these people have powers, right? Varies between like anything that you can imagine, be that elemental, be that kinetic, be that whatever the heck else you want to say. And so Mare is not a silver. She's a red blood. She's the bottom of the barrel. She sucks. She's like treated really horribly by everybody, by the entirety of society. And she's just really trying to live out here. So one day, Miss Mare, Miss Ma'am, and her sister go to the market, and there's like some sort of rebel group called like the Scarlet Guard or something, and her sister and Mare end up having to get the hell out of Dodge, because the Scarlet Guard is full of like red-blooded people that are trying to like rebel against the kingdom. They start some stuff. They do some, I forget what the heck they do, but like it was really not looking good for Mare and her sister because they're red-blooded people. And in the market, after people saw this video of the Scarlet Guard doing some shenanigans, all of the silvers in that area were like terrorizing and beating up the silver-blooded people. So Mare and her sister are like, we gotta get the hell out of here. So they run, and then Mare ends up getting caught by some figure like later in the day, and something actually really bad happens to her sister. We're not going to talk about that because that is a spoiler, but it kind of depicts how Mare is like the last straw for her. She ends up having like a turning point where she's like, all right, enough is enough. I'm done with this. I'm gonna make a change. So she ends up meeting this mysterious figure. I'm not gonna say the name because then that'll like spoil the entire series. But they end up talking, and she's like, I'm so tired of this world and how the people like are living in it. I want to make a change. And he's basically like, I want to do that too. I understand, and I'm sorry. The next day, Mare gets a summons from the kingdom. That's not a good thing, right? She gets summoned to the palace, and she ends up having to work as like this servant girl. In the palace, there ends up being like this what do you call it, this like challenge between the silvers, and they're essentially like between, I think, a group of girls, and they're trying to win this competition so that they can be engaged to the prince. The prince's name is Maven, and one person ends up winning, but something happens and Mare ends up falling off a building. And guess what? She ends up saving herself. How? We're not going to talk about it because, again, this is a spoiler. But then the entire series goes on, and it becomes like a battle, a war, a campaign, if you will, between like the Silvers and the red-blooded people. Also, I apologize in advance. Your girl is battling a cold, and honestly, while I'm still getting over this, my voice may be very nasally, but also it's really hard to talk without wanting to cough my lungs out. So I may need to take a couple breaks between these videos. So what the heck was I talking about? So yeah, between these 4 books, they were fine. The first book, I think I rated it. Let me see what I rated it. Rated it 4.5. The second one, I didn't even rate it. That's funny as fuck. Okay, I have my Goodreads app up here, so I have like all the rates set it. But I want to say I rated it like a 4-star. It wasn't bad. It wasn't the best. The third one, I put a 4.25, and I think the last one, the fourth one, I just put. Did I? Okay, I guess I didn't rate that one either. I'm pretty good about rating my books. I don't know. But regardless, oh, you know what? I think it's because like I rated them like within the. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, regardless, I want to say I rated it like a 4-star because while the last one did do a good job at wrapping everything up, no, it didn't, because at the very end, it kind of like left it open ended, as in like you think this may go a certain way, things are gonna like wrap up like as they go on off page, I guess. But it's just like the way it ended was kind of just a lot of back and forth. I feel like the entire series itself was very drawn out. Definitely could have done without a single book being in there. We could have cut that like 4-book series down to a trilogy, but it's fine, you know, lore and world building and everything. But Mary ends up having a lot of like found family, and she loses some family, and then she loses some found family, and then she's like back and forth between her love interest and this other love interest. And obviously we know who she's going to end up with, but then there's like a thing that happens at the end where she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna be by myself, but maybe there's gonna be more, who knows. And I don't know, it wasn't my favorite series. I definitely didn't DNF it because, one, I have the series in my hand. 2, it wasn't bad enough, I guess. So that's the Red Queen series. I didn't hate it, but I mean, it was my least favorite book out of the entire month. Let's get into this chunk of a book. Did you know that they have like the first 4 books on Amazon, Kindle version for like $20, and it's like 800 pages, bro? I finished that in a weekend. I probably finished that within like 2 days because of how like fast paced the writing is and how easy to read it is. This is literally The Bachelor meets not Silver Elite. That's a whole book in and of itself. Meets Red Queen without like any of the crazy stuff. The only reason that these 2 series have anything in common is because, like I said before, silver blooded people versus red blooded people, and in this series, it's kind of like, let me think about it, right? So we have like a caste system where everybody's number is based off of where they stand on society's totem pole, I guess. And what I mean by that is they have like a number system 1 through 8. 8 is obviously the very, very bottom of the barrel. Like, you can't get any job. You're like poor as hell. You're like begging for money off of the street, doing any odd jobs to make a living, which you're not going to, because again, they don't like they're like the rats of society, right? They don't make a lot of money. They don't. They're like struggling to live. And then we have like the upper elite, which would be like the 3s, 2s, and the 1s, and they're like the upper echelon of society. They don't have to like wonder where their next meal is going to be going, they're are coming from. They don't have to worry about a place to stay. They're like super rich, super famous, and they got it going on. And then we have a girl named, what the hell was her name? America. Very, very very original. So actually, I'm pretty sure that this book takes place within the US, which is really funny to me. But we also have people that are from like other like what do you call it? Not regions, countries. And like I said, the Selection series is basically The Bachelor. So America gets placed or places herself within like the you know what, let me go back a bit. So we have this guy whose name is Prince Maxon, and he like turned of age, I guess. I think he's like 18. They're like all within like 18 to 20-year-olds, and they the prince has like he's decided that he wants to find a bride. So he holds what's called the Selection, where 36 girls, I want to say 35 girls, get the chance to vie for his affection, and then he gets to choose between those like but one girl between those like 35 girls to be his bride. And America isn't really like upon entering the castle, she's really not there to be there. She's trying to get kicked out any way that she can. And the first meeting, like the meet cute between Maxon and America, is actually kind of funny. Like she really just wants to go out into the gardens and be a girl and enjoy like the night sky within like the gardens and stuff. She just wants to go for a walk, but the guards won't let her out, and so she ends up having like a mental breakdown in front of them because she misses home and like she just needs a break. Like she's having it's up to here with her. But Prince Maxon is like, bro, just let her out, and she's like, thanks, Prince, I really appreciate it. So they go out, they have a nice talk, and then it's like their first date, right, before like anybody else get it, and it's supposed to be like a thing where it's like no one else is supposed to know about it, but that's their first meet cute. And the only, well, one of the only things, like it's not supposed to be a serious series whatsoever. I felt like it was a reality TV show, but like within the contestants, as in like people were being like these people were being filmed like 24/7 basically, but they were trying to make it as real as possible, as in you were seeing it from the insider's view. You weren't seeing it as like you were watching it on TV, if that makes any sense. The only one of like the biggest things that I didn't like about it is they kept drawing it out, like the arguments between America and Maxon. They kept having hella arguments, but Maxon kept saying like, oh, I really want to be with you, like it's just you. If you told me that you loved me today, I would cut everybody else out and just talk to you. Big red flags from both of them, to be honest. And so there's also like a bit of a love triangle situation between America and her best friend, that, you know, we're not even gonna get into it because again it's like a huge spoiler. But for the first 3 books, that's what we're figuring out. For the last 2 books, it actually follows America's daughter. We're just going to say that because I don't want to spoil too much of the series. If you can guess, we probably know what the love interest is, right? But America's daughter is the princess, and she is trying to go through her own selection, but she really does not want to be here again. But like she's doing this from the princess's perspective, where instead of the bachelor, we're having the bachelorette, right? So she has to choose between 35 guys and decide who she wants to be with. I thought this was so stupid, but again, it's not supposed to be serious. It's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be like candy, like garbage. And I just, exactly, you know what? This was exactly garbage, but I could not stop eating it. It was like Cheetos. It was like candy. It was like anything that I should not be eating, but I was eating it up. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Should I have like loved the series? No, but I absolutely did. This was definitely like a 3-star series, 3.75-star series, but that's to say, like, this series is so stupid, but I loved it so much. This is not like a 3.75 star because I hated it. This is a 3.75 star because I loved it and could not stop eating it. But we're basically doing the Bachelorette with her daughter, and she has to choose between 35 guys. And she really just doesn't want to do this bachelorette thing. She's like, fuck it, I want to be like, you know, I'm a queen, I'm trying to do my own thing, I don't need no man type of thing. She ends up finding her guy. I thought it was going to go one way, and I would have preferred it to go one way, but also it didn't make sense if it went that way, if that makes sense. Like, are you picking up what I'm putting down? So yeah, it was fine. It was fine. I kind of knew by the end of it. I was like, yeah, that makes sense, but also it was kind of stupid. Regardless, that's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like a cartoon that you just, it's garbage, but you love it. But that brings us into our next book, Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Oh my god. I listened to this on audiobook and I was cheesing the entire time. We're following a girl named, what is her name? Misery, which is really funny. And this is, to give you like a rundown of the tropes, we've got single dad but not actual father, kind of like Big Brother, right? We've got like alpha, we've got a vampire and werewolf type of situation. They've got like some interesting anatomy types, which I had to actually look this up because I was like, what the heck is this phrase? What is this sentence? What does this mean? I'm confused. And then when I realized, like when I figured it out, I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of hot. listen, we're not even going to talk about it. So Misery ends up getting matched up with this guy. What is his name? Like Loam or Liam, Iam, something. Oh my god, what is his name? Low. That's funny as hell. His name is Low, and they end up getting matched up, paired, and they end up getting married. There's a marriage of they end up getting married. It's a marriage of convenience type of situation. They are getting married to tie the werewolves and the vampires together, and of course that just doesn't make sense regardless. But you know, we gotta have world peace. You know what I'm saying? The humans are just they're on their last straw. They're tired of us like fighting it out, right? So Misery goes to live with Lo in his mansion, and he's like basically giving like mafia vibes, as in he like runs his pack. He's kind of like running like everything going on in that town. And Misery's one job is just to stay inside that mansion and not cause any trouble and stay alive because everybody hates her, right? Misery ends up having like this beautiful relationship with this with the little sister, and she's so cute. I loved her. Again, I listened to this on audiobook. I probably finished this within like 6 hours because one, it was on 2.5 speed, but also because I was just eating this up because I could not take the earbuds out of my ears. I loved this. This was hilarious. This was beautiful. This was amazing. Ali Hazelwood has done it again. And next month, I'll be reading the next book that came out, that she just came out with, called Mate. I'm pretty sure that they're within the same universe, but they follow different people. And I don't know if it's like an interconnected standalone or what, but I'm looking forward to it, especially considering the spicy scenes that are about to go into it, guys. The nodding, the nodding. And I thought it was funny because if you don't know, I'm a biology major, right? But the anatomy that was mentioned in this book is very, very similar to the anatomy that is in like typical dogs when they, you know. So anyway, I thought it was fun. It was just like a really goofy, fun time, but definitely like palate cleanser. Ali Hazelwood's books for me are definitely palate cleansers. Every time I read them, they're just like something that gives me a breath of fresh air, and I'm ready to dive into the next like big thing, right? So next, because it was October, I wanted to dive into my first like mystery thriller books. I first read The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This one was definitely, I remember having like a good time. If you haven't read The Guest List, essentially there's this person that ended up fucking up a lot of people's lives, but has not paid the price for it. But it kind of doesn't really matter right now, right? Because we're just following the groom and this bride who's getting married, and we end up getting like the point of views from a lot of different characters that were affected by this single person's life. And the plot twist at the end was interesting. So we're following like a couple different timelines. We're following like the wedding day, and then we're following the days that lead up to the wedding. And then like the two timelines kind of like interconnect at the very end to tie everything up, right? But oh my god, the thing about being sick is like you end up having this like couple of days where you still have a cough, you're still congested, but you can't speak without like coughing your lungs out because your throat is working in overdrive, and you're just like all fucked up, right? So that's what I'm dealing with right now. But the guest list, I'm just gonna read you the back. An exclusive wedding on a remote Irish island. The bride, the plus one, the best man, the wedding planner, the bridesmaid. All have a secret, all have a motive, but only one is a murderer. That kind of sums everything up. And then you find out who like the actual murderer is at the very end. I really like this book. It's not very gory. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not. But considering that I am not one to really read like thriller books because of how like I can get scared and be kind of anxious and a little spoopy, but that's okay because this book was pretty good. That's all I'm gonna really say on it. I gave it like a 3.75. I'm pretty sure it was a pretty. Would I listen to it again? Absolutely. Would I read it again? Absolutely. Next up, though, we have First Fly Wins by Ashley Elston. This book is kind of hard to explain. I'm gonna read the back and then I'll talk about it, right? Just kidding. There's nothing on the back. But we're essentially following this girl who ends up moving in with this guy after barely knowing each other for like 3 months, and we end up realizing later that this girl is like a secret agent of some sort, and she gets these assignments where she has to like find out some sort of like a ulterior motive or like some chisme, some dirt on these people, and then use that against them for her boss, right? So her next assignment is this guy that she ends up talking to, and she actually like really likes him, but that's not really besides the point. There's like a sprinkle of romance in here. I don't think it's spicy. I don't remember it being spicy, but it's fine. Again, the plot twist was really funny, I thought, because turns out it was low-key a heist. It was low-key a Uno reverse card, and the people in between, the people involved in this heist, directly or indirectly, was really interesting. Again, this is like future and past that slowly leads up to the future, and then you find the plot twist, and then like it's really interesting. So pretty sure, yeah, I gave this a 4.5. It was really good. I remember that really liking it. Next up, though, We're going to talk about the books that aren't on here. Give me a second. I'm going to drink some water and then I'll be right back. My God, that is so gross, guys. It is disgusting being sick. I hate like the uh week after where you're still recovering and you're almost like back to 100%, but that persistent cough and that congestion just it's not the tea. So the first duology, well, it's currently a duology, but I think it's going to be either a trilogy or a quartet, is the Wicked Game series by Kaylie Smith. You guys, say whatever you want. Enchantra was better. So the first book in the series is called Phantasma, and we're following a girl, a pair of sisters whose mom just passed away. And these sisters live, or no, these sisters are part of a family of necromancers. So there's like a bunch of like rituals and things that they're supposed to do after a family member passes away. They do these things. Genevieve ends up getting her powers as a necromancer because she's the eldest, and that's how it works within the matriarchy of their family. And later she's walking home one night after a fight with her sister. Her sister's like basically stormed off, and so Genevieve is walking home by herself to give them both some space. Wait, I'm so sorry, just kidding, it's not Genevieve, it's Ophelia. Ophelia is the older sister and Genevieve is the younger sister. I remember Genevieve more because I preferred her in Enchantra than I did Ophelia in Phantasma. That's something I want to clarify. So Ophelia's walking by this mansion, I guess, on her way home, and she ends up like hearing things because she can see ghosts because she's a necromancer. That makes sense, right? And so she ends up having a conversation with this person. Mind you, there's this game within this world called Phantasma, and at first, Ophelia is like, I don't want anything to do with this. I don't want my sister to get caught up with this, but it's like, it's a whatever, right? So later she ends up taking part in Phantasma to look for her sister Genevieve. Very similar to the Broken Heart trilogy, with the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. Yes, that makes sense. So within this series, within this book, she ends up partnering up with this ghost. He's not a ghost. He's something else. He's a phantom, I think, which is really funny because they're spicy things that were happening the entire time while I was reading it. I couldn't really focus about the spice or like the intimate moments because I'm over here thinking about how this is supposed to work. Mind you, he's like a ghost, so he can take a corporeal form, and he can take a non-corporeal form. I can't speak, as we know. I'm sick. Leave me alone. But regardless, he can like either be like able to touch or able to not touch, if that makes sense. That's like very like layman's terms for what I'm trying to say. So the entire time that they were having like these spicy scenes, the entire time I'm trying to figure out how this is supposed to work because can he touch? Can he not touch? Like what's going on? Shadow Daddy insert here. He can control shadows and everything. And it's like you know the tropes, right? So again, the entire time she's looking for her sister, but every night she's also having to take part in these trials to continue on into the game. At the end of the game, you get, I think, like a wish of some sort, and that's like the prize, right? I love this book. I think I gave it like a 4.25, 4.5. Let me just double check. Yeah, I give it a 4.75. I really liked it. The only reason it wasn't a 4-star was because I couldn't really relate to the character. And there were some choices that she made that I was like, really? Really? But then we're going to talk about Enchantra. Enchantra follows the sister Genevieve. Why can't I see it? Oh my gosh. Did I not put it on here? No, I know I did. I know for sure that I did, right? Right? Bruh. Goodreads is really annoying sometimes. It'll like take shit out of order and it won't put things in order and it'll be really annoying to you. But it's fine. Okay, you know what? It doesn't really matter. I'll figure out my Goodreads later because I know what I said. I know what I know and I know what I said. So Enchantra, we're going to talk about that, right? So this is after the games of Phantasma. And Genevieve ends up going on this trip to France to, like, mind you, I want to give you some context here. Genevieve and Ophelia grew up in New Orleans. And if you don't know, New Orleans and France have, or like the French language have very, like, a lot of similarities in common. And so Genevieve wanted to go to France as on a trip to like learn more about her culture. And so she does. And on this trip, she ends up kind of like pulling in a reverse card on her sister because her sister gave her this trip like all expenses paid. She's supposed to go there. She's supposed to figure out her life. She's supposed to enjoy her life, and she's supposed to come back home and get her shit started, right? She doesn't do that. Little sister energy right here. Let me tell you, it was very chaotic. It was very fun, and it was very unhinged for some parts, and I was enjoying every second of it. If you've ever watched the originals, girl, pick this book up right now. It's so funny. So I'll tell you like why it's very akin to the originals in a second. But first, while she's on this trip to Paris, to France, and traveling around and everything, she has a secret motive. She's trying to figure out who's been sending her mother, her past mother, these letters so that she can find more information about the necromancers and her family. And like, she's trying to look for somebody to relate to. She is giving little sister energy. I want to belong type shit. Um, so on one of her letters, there was an address with an invitation to come to this place. She ends up going there, and a guy tries to kick her out, but it doesn't work very well because she's not very good at listening. She's very much like, "I'm gonna do my own thing, and you can fuck off if you don't want to do it with me, right?" Um, and so she accidentally, because she didn't listen to these people that were telling her to go home and get the fuck out of here, she ended up accidentally taking part in this game called Enchantra. This mansion, I think once a year, um, has this like Hunger Games style competition. And how do I give context without giving too much away? So the head of family, we're following like a father and like all of his children, right? I don't know how many there are, and it doesn't really matter because you'll like figure it out on the way, and their personalities are actually really fun. It's like a bunch of brothers and a sister, but the father ended up making a stupid freaking decision because of course we all got those issues, right? And he ended up tying his life as a familiar to this demon. Demons are also in the last book, so they kind of tie together, not really. um and so by tying himself as a familiar to this demon, he ended up fucking up his entire family because this demon is very sadistic. Low-key, it was funny. But every single year they take part in this competition called Enchantra, and the losers all like go into hell, and basically they're like slaves to this demon, and the winner gets to stay in the human world and has a wish to that of whatever he wants to grant. No, I think the prize is like you get to take something from, oh, no, so there's like the winner, and then there's a favored. The favored gets to take whatever he wants from this treasure trove that the demon owns, and then the winner gets to have like a gift of some sort. And of course, like he gets the perks of being just able to stay out of hell. But I think it's the eldest. No, I don't think it's the eldest. But one of the siblings has won for like the past like so many years, and so he's used that time to try to break the spell, break the curse, save somebody that's very significant, and like stop this entire thing. But his siblings don't know that. His siblings thinks that he's like an entitled prick, basically, and like is he doing this to further his own like gain of like being free and stuff like that. And they think that he's very like pompous and has like a very like I'm better than you attitude, and I don't care if you're like in hell because blah blah blah. His siblings have like the wrong idea. So this guy and Genevieve pair up, and they end up winning the entire damn thing. But that doesn't matter, right? Because listen, listen, I have never in my life been so dramatic while reading a book that I'm literally kicking, screaming, throwing up, kicking my feet, having the best time, squealing every 2 fucking seconds because of this shit that I'm reading. Oh my god, you guys, I was giddy. I was so giddy. Like my roommates were low key concerned. They were like, "Chad, are you good?" And I'm like, "Yes, it's the best fucking thing ever." And so let's just say I had a really good time. 5 fucking stars, so unhinged. Okay, look, listen, my favorite things in the world, right, are very unhinged things, right? So Arcane, uh Mao from, what do you call it, from the Apothecary Diary, she's very unhinged at points. Just like whenever I have a very unhinged main character or a very unhinged like story where the characters are just very insane, I love it. So the siblings in the Enchantraverse, Enchantra book are very, very unhinged. If you want hilarious family banter, go read this book. I highly recommend any books out of this freaking stack. This book isn't even here because it's so great. No, it's not. It's read it on Kindle. I'll get this book eventually. Mark my words. And it's gonna have a special edition. I'm gonna have it in my freaking library, on my library shelf book when I have my own apartment, house, and everything. It's gonna be displayed. Listen, I will die for this book. This is my new favorite book. So that's Enchantra, right? So we're gonna transition over to Three Shattered Souls. This book came out this year. And I'm not really one, well, I try to, but it's kind of hard to add books that come out every year, like new releases and things. It's kind of hard to add them to my TBR because it's already really extensive. You want to know how many books this was that was on this TBR before I added these books to my list? 8. I added double the books, the TBR for this month. That is insane. That is crazy. You could This month was unhinged. Let me just tell you that. So, Three Shattered Souls is the last and final book in the the Broken Blades trilogy. We have five Broken Blades, we have four Ruined Realms, and then we have three Shattered Souls. There's a reason that number keeps going down. And it's really sad. We started with like five or six people, technically six, but he's kind of like a, what do you call it, like that extra friend part as part of the group, an honorary member, I guess. So we're following five originally in the first book, right? I don't want to give you too much information because then it's going to be spoilers. Like, you should just go read it yourself. I do recommend this series, but does the series get worse as it goes on? Yeah, just a little bit, just a little bit. But it's fine. There's only three books, so you should just go read it yourself, right? But originally, five people, five assassins. They're not all assassins, but like they're very like morally gray, morally black characters. We have assassins, we have poison maidens, we have thieves, we have prince, I guess, and his like spy master or whatever the heck. And they're all on this mission. They're all on this heist to slay the king. Something happens at the very end where the king pulls an Uno reverse card and he's like, "Side bitch, it's not gonna be me, it's gonna be somebody else." And actually you have no choice to do this because all of your stuff that you care about, it's on the line. So in the second book they go do something else, right? And then in the third book, well, at the very end of the second book, that something else just doesn't happen. It kind of goes all to shit, right? It's like the moral of the story, everything just goes to shit. And in the last book, they're just like, well, we got to figure out what we're going to do about our lives in this kingdom. Like, we just got to figure that shit out. So they do. And at the very end, I was like, okay, I understand the pattern of this series of who, like, of what happens when that five goes to four, goes to three, right? And so I'm just kind of like trying to figure out who's going to be next. And to be honest, I kind of saw it coming because think about it, right? Three shattered souls. Whose souls are going to be shattered by the end of this series the most? It's going to be this person. It's going to be that person. I don't think it's going to be this person, but it could be because we do have a couple of relationships in here. So, whose heart is going to be torn to shreds the most? And I kind of called it, and it was kind of sad. Because if one person died, and it's funny because within that same relationship between those two people, I was like, if this person died, this person would be okay. But if this person died, this person will be freaking drinking, swallowing their liquor and drowning in their liquor and just like having the worst freaking time available. And I kind of called it. It was that person. So, Three Shattered Souls. I gave this book. Why are you doing this to me? Don't do this to me. Stop it. Stop it. Why you do this to me? Why you be like this? No. Okay, you know what? Goodreads is doing too much right now. So I'm just gonna close this browser. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I think I gave this book a 4 star, 4.25 star. Like, it wasn't a 5 star by any means, but I want to say it was within the 4.0 to 4.5 range because I did enjoy it thoroughly. I probably finished with this within like a day and a half, to be honest. That's how much I enjoyed it. All that being said, I do recommend go reading the series by Mike Corland. This is the last book in that trilogy, so there's only 3 books. Like, go knock yourself out, right? Last though, this is like the least rated on my TBR. Not to say it was like bad per se, but there were like some situations in there that I was like, seriously, that's a choice. So we don't know. Last month, The Long Walk came out in theaters, and so I, realizing that it is a Stephen King novel, it being spooky season, I wanted to read my first Stephen King book. Was it like a thriller? Sure. Was it a scary book that I was expecting to read? Not really. If you don't know, The Long Walk is literally a long walk to nowhere, right? Well, I guess they have a path, but it's like, honestly, the last person walking wins. And so in the book, we're following 100 boys who are probably between the ages of 14 and 16. This is back in, I think, the 1970s. This book was written in 1979. So Stephen King probably had this like book be written for like the year 1950 or something like that, because the amount of, like, listen, let me just tell you, right? I read the N word with the hard R twice in this book. One at like the very beginning, probably at the 30% mark, and then one at the very end, probably like between the 60 and 70% mark. That wasn't something I really wanted to read, to be honest, but I mean, hey, it was a book. It was what it was. I wanted to see what the differences were between the movie and the book. And guys, the movie, they made choices. That's all I'm gonna say. They made choices. But The main character in the book, his name is Garrity. There we go, Garrity. I was just gonna be like, call him Gary and call it a day. Garrity. I don't even remember his first name, to be honest, because they all consider each other by last names. But he ends up taking part in this 100-person competition. It's like pairing a 1 million mile walk marathon type thing between Hunger Games. We have 100 boys that participate, right? And they're literally supposed to walk. That's all they're supposed to do. But they're followed by this like Humvee style, they call them like half tracks, I think, but they're like these army style vehicles that have army guys on it, obviously, and these guns that these army guys have. Should a walker go behind 4 miles an hour, that's kind of fast, to be honest. That's like running speed for me. That's jogging speed for me. But should a person go behind 4 miles an hour, they'll get a warning. They'll be like number whatever the heck, number 47, first warning, number 47, second warning, number 47, third warning. After that third warning, 3 strikes are out. You have like seconds before you're about to get shot. But they have an option that if they, I think it's like after they get a warning, they have like an hour to walk off that warning, and then they're back to zero, right? So if you get 3 warnings, you have 3 hours to walk before you get back to 0 warnings. It was fine. The book was fine. I give it a 3.5 star. The only like one of the biggest reasons it was rated that low, wasn't because it was bad per se. It was because like of the word choices and writing choices that Stephen King made. This book was very misogynistic, very like racist, and I wasn't fucking with it. That's really the only reason why I put it. Like, it didn't like I finished it, right? So it wasn't like so bad that I just DNF'd it. And you know me, I really try not to DNF books regardless. So it was fine. It was fine. It was the worst book that I read for this month, but it wasn't the worst book I ever read in my life. So the fact that that was the worst book in my reading month kind of says something, right? So, with that being said, those are the 16 books I read in October. That was a really good reading month, and I will say I'm excited for the rest of the year. I got some books lined up, and I'm really excited to talk about them with you guys. So if you like this video, go ahead and like this video. Comment down below what books you read this month, and subscribe, because why not, right? And then also one more thing. Stay here, right? Hit that notification bell, because that way you know when I upload a new video, and you won't get stuck behind being like, what, you mean you uploaded 4 weeks ago? I never saw it. That's crazy. So anyway, welcome to the family. Bye.